Hey people, Steel Gamer back again with a hardcore seasonal run, and I'll just be grinding, and this is open discussion, so feel free to sit back and enjoy. And yeah, let me turn this down a little bit, turn on the audio on this. Sound. Enable sound. I'll turn this down to about 35. There we go. Accept. So now I'm going to be, I guess, attempting to generate my gems at a higher rank. So let's see. So I need 45 in this, so that would make it just 60. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Now the rest of this is just trying to get primal, I guess. It'd be hilarious if I died. I don't know if you were watching my my other stream about what I explained, but if you did, I hope I don't want to say educated you, but gave you some insight that you may not have recognized before. Your fear betrays you. Not ready. I gotta be really careful on how I play this. This is hardcore, so. I need to adjust a lot of my skills. Not my skills, I need to adjust some of the stats on my gear. So if you have anything you want to discuss, feel free to discuss it. I'm open for anything. I don't, crap, did I fix this? I probably didn't fix this. Darn it. Probably didn't fix this. Ah! I didn't even fix this. Ah! I forgot to fix this. Oh, I forgot to fix this. Oh, that's terrible. I forgot to fix this. I'm using the wrong I'm using one of the wrong skills. Well, it's not wrong, but kind of like weird. Oh, this is hilarious. I love channeling pilots.
Vengeance!
can't believe I did that. I'm totally using the wrong thing. I got the invigoration right. I just don't have the right abilities on this. I guess stand these guys that just come out of nowhere. You'll clear out an entire area, go back, and then there's like guys there again. Oh, alright, that's it on that. Thank goodness. Thank gosh for awareness. Ah, that's terrible. Almost died. I gotta go back to town and wait. My awareness triggered off. I still have to wait 3 seconds. There we go. Now I can go. Repair. I still need a socket for this thing. Of course, there's a shield pylon here. Got a shield pylon, baby. Got him. Oh, I got him. Let's see. Any of these primal? Nope. Those are ancient. Oh, maybe this is the one that can't die. Nope, that's not it. I really need to get this thing so he can't die. $429. I have to look at my other shoulders on this. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Alright, 5, right?
When the champions of ages past have proven themselves, I would attempt to improve the clarity of their good to see you.
Yeah, there's so many broken things with this game, dude. It's yeah, that's why, you know, I've had all my other videos that expose this stuff. Like, I've been muted. My account's been muted since till August. That's why I just don't even care. I mean, the game's old enough, so I always tell people, use Turbo HUD when you're playing hardcore. I'm using it now. Unfortunately, for some reason, I can't get it to show in the overlay, otherwise I would. And the thing here is that this game is so old that I just don't care. If I get banned from it, oh well. You know, it's not going to affect me. Now, I'll be honest, I paid for the game. I'm not going to lie about that. But I've gotten more than enough use out of it where it's not going to bother me. You know, my account got closed. It's like, all right, and I mean, yeah, it's something to do to pass time, but it's not going to kill you if you don't play it. You know what I mean? So I'm fully aware of what I'm doing. It's not like, you know. And I say that in a lot of my videos because people say, you know, because, you know, some of the community members love to try to twist the knife, or they say something out in chat like, oh, you know, just ignore them. I've had them on ignore for, you know, 3 years. Nobody cares if you have somebody on ignore. You know, nobody cares. They announce it like they're doing the chat a favor, or they're policing the chat or something like that. So it's like, okay, and only hardcore fans are actually continuing this. That's what it comes down to. But yeah, there's all sorts of there's all sorts of things that are wrong with this game, and that's why I always point out that you know, I make these videos just in case I do get banned. They'll already be made, you know. But the fact of the matter is, the issue is that Blizzard, like, for me to get muted until August, I've had multiple reports. My account's been muted a bunch of times, and apparently the reason my account's been muted is because people got offended at me using the F word, and a gamer getting offended by the F word, really? So it's more important that Blizzard in an older game care more about the language than they do about the bots and the cheating. And so one of the main reasons I tell people use Turbo HUD, there's nothing wrong with it. People are like, oh, it's a third party, it's cheating. Half the people in this game are cheating. Using it makes you equal to them, because the only way to make the game fair. Let me cover this with a simple explanation. I always tell people, you know, I was watching something about Lance Armstrong, and apparently at the time he was accused of cheating. He actually was, but it was never proven. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the thing with me is I get a lot of hate for my videos because I go over and I expose. You see my Division video. I'm yelling. I'm ripping into the people that are in the chat because they're just being dumb. People are more in tune with how to do something after they already know it, than instead of stepping back and looking at, there's no explanation for what they know. So basically my point is that there's a lot of things in this game that I apply to. Like I said, I was watching something about Lance Armstrong cheating, you know, and this whole thing about baseball and steroids and everything else. If everybody in the system is doing it, how the hell can it be cheating? Because if everybody's doing it, nobody has an edge on anybody else. What are you going to do? Say I cheat better than you? So, if Blizzard wants to put these posts out, or staff members that Blizzard want to put these posts on the forums, the supposed post in blue, about, you know, well, this is the only way we can keep the game fair, if they're going to keep using that, knowing the game isn't fair, then I tell people, make the game fair. They're not going to stop it, and, you know, if you want to use it, that's on you, but I tell people all the time, you know, use it. Don't not use Turbo HUD when you're playing, you know, to get on the leaderboard and things like that. If the leaderboards are not fair, they never have been. They're unbalanced, not only because the bots are in it, but it's also because of it's also because of the cheating going on. And when you're dealing with hardcore, especially, you know, if you're dealing with hardcore, especially, things that are off the screen can kill you. And it's bad enough that, now, I used to think that, you know, people may be bitch about the connection. Now, have I died in hardcore playing stupid? Absolutely, everybody has. But I've lost 4 to 6 characters. No, actually, it was more than 6. It was more than 4. It was about 5 to 6 characters in the past week because of disconnects. And at first, I used to think, okay, some people are just complaining because it's complaining, which is normal. And then some people, you know, have bad connections, which is true. But there's nothing, first of all, you have to look at a couple of facts. If it's only happening in the game that you are playing and nowhere else, then there's something wrong with the game. Your connection cannot be bad only in one place. It doesn't work like that. People are going to say, yeah, it does all at once. No. Because if you were getting disconnected from the game, and it was your connection, you'd be getting disconnected from all games. It wouldn't be, you know, just be one. And so what you have here is people that try to justify stupidity. And that's, you know, that's what my channel is about. It's about exposing the stupidity level and putting it out, you know, in front, you know, for realism. And that's why, you know, for reality aspects and just people trying to do things. Like I said, you know, you'll get people saying, well, the leaderboard doesn't matter. But yet 99% of the community reverts to the leaderboard in this game for, like, anything. And they're too, you know, it's like people got ripped all over me because, you know, in season, I think it was like season 11 or 10 or something like that, when I said, you know, there were something on the leaderboard doesn't make it good, it just makes it used. And I said this in a couple times in a couple other videos, that something on the leaderboard doesn't make it good, it just makes it used. And so to further enhance the argument that people were doing, I brought up the fact that, you know, this is when Tragouls was, Necro was first in, and some guy came up with Tragouls, and, you know, everyone's like, oh, Tragouls is the best, he says. Tragouls is not the best. Well, the leaderboard says so. Well, the leaderboard doesn't matter, though. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. So what you have here is people being really stupid with this, and then it's almost like when they lose the argument, they're like, oh, you know, it's not really that big of a deal, or it doesn't matter. You're the one arguing with me about this whole thing. So it's kind of interesting to watch. So what I tell people all the time is, if you're gonna go by what's on the leaderboard, then you're an idiot. The leaderboards mean nothing. All anybody does in this game is copy anybody else, and then they do it. They get power level just to copy what's already on the leaderboard, and before you know it, there's nothing on the leaderboard except what people are copying. And that leads into people getting the information about, well, obviously if anything else is good, it would be being used. No, it's not that, it's just nobody else uses anything because all they do is copy everybody. So there's a difference between copying everybody and then using what's on the leaderboard because you copied them, and then actually having something that's really good actually being, there's nothing on the leaderboard that's good. I'm not saying it's not usable, I'm just saying there's nothing better than one or another. And then you got these idiots comparing Necros to, you know, well, yeah, you only did GR98. Like, yeah, and I got into a discussion with somebody who was trying to say, well, you know, first of all, he was using a Necro or a Monk or something like that, and he's like, well, you only did this, and I said, listen, if I want to sit around in town with no armor on, running around the main checkpoint, typing in the chat, I'm not leveling, I'm not leveling, I'm not leveling, I'm going to. Why do you care? People always try to say, well, you know, I've gone away for 3 hours and I've come back and you're still level 12. Yeah, and? It's just funny to listen to people. Because people are just dumb. They use anything and anything just to try to provoke an argument. It's like third grade at recess. You know, one third grader gets in trouble, and then the teacher is, you know, scolding he's scolding the person, you know, and then there's another idiot, there's another, you know, 2 or 3 third graders behind them going, ha 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 ha. That's what this is. Anytime anybody brings up your level, or, you know, the fact that you're still standing there doing something or whatever, just ignore them. Like, seriously. Those people are why games are toxic. But yeah, I mean, disconnects and stuff like that are just ridiculous because, like I said, I mean, I won't lie, I mean, I used to tell people, well, it's probably because your connection is bad, whatever it is. But then I started becoming on the receiving end of just stupid comments like that, such as, I had one person who thinks because I didn't have games on Steam that my computer couldn't run anything. That's like me telling you your computer sucks because you use Gmail. What service I use has literally nothing to do with anything. And I don't support game developers that only go through Steam or Valve. I don't. If the game is only available on Steam, then I'll pirate it. The reason behind that is because I can't pay for them even if I wanted to, because Valve, as corrupt as they are, have literally prevented me from registering anything because they blocked my account. I can't pay for things even if I wanted to. The only way for me to play it, if it's only on Steam, is to pirate it. There's no other way I can play it. Now, I call a company and I say, listen, you want your money, I'll be giving it to you, but I'm not going to give it to Valve. And if they want to take me to court, so be it. Go ahead. Say, hey. If gaming companies were forced to distribute their games elsewhere, this wouldn't be an issue. Yeah, I make it no secret that I don't support game developers in my streams that only go through Steam. I don't I don't like Path of Exile because it's still in early development as far as I'm concerned. I don't. Well, I shouldn't say that. Is it Path of Exile? Yeah, Path of Exile. I don't really care too much for that. I'm thinking about Pillars of Eternity. See, PoE, when you say that, there's two different games with the abbreviation PoE, Pillars of Eternity and Path of Exile. So you have to really clarify what you're actually talking about. That's why I always ask people, I say, you're talking about Path of Exile or Pillars of Eternity? Some people don't even realize that there's another game like that, but yeah. But yeah, I don't really care for Pillars of Eternity. Sorry, Path of Exile. I don't like it because I was actually in the, before it actually was released, Pillars of Eternity is a single player game. It's kind of story driven. It's not my style of game. It's kind of like a Baldur's Gate type of game. That's another thing I don't do. I don't get revved up about the hype on things because my channel, like I said, if you actually take a look at my channel, I have other videos on there about there's no such thing as downgraded graphics in a game or anything else like that. And people go, you're out of your mind. And if you actually listen to the video, it totally explains why there's no such thing as a downgraded, there's a downgraded graphics in games. My point is that I don't get, to answer your question, I don't get involved in the hype on games that are coming out, and the reason behind that is because a game is the way it is when it comes out. There's no if people expect the game to be a certain way when it comes out, then that's on them, but you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. And here's the thing, I don't the argument that people are using about microtransactions, that's not even an argument as far as I'm concerned, because is it cheesy to do? Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? It's a legitimate business transaction. And what really gets me is that the arguments about microtransactions are so minimal that people buy them. You know what I mean? So people buying microtransactions causes the company to do it. Somebody is going to buy it, period. So you can't, the only way to stop it is if all of a sudden nobody did it. And everyone's like complaining about loot boxes and everything else. If people want legitimate games to play, I don't want to say legitimate, but if people are that hell-bent on complaining that somebody else has items because of day one and stuff like that, that's the company's decision, and the person chose to buy that. That is literally no different than going out and buying a bed. It's funny how when you start looking at everything that people are complaining about as a whole and start applying it to everyday products, you realize that the argument is no different. People are just applying it where they want to apply it instead of where it needs to be applied, which is basically across the board. You can't piss and moan about. It's like in this game, since you started playing it. Let me use power leveling for example. I've gotten thrown out of games because I basically told the person, stop complaining about the person leeching in town with bounties when you've gotten power leveled. People somehow try to apply that power leveling is not leeching. No, power leveling is leeching. It's just a form of leeching that you decided to accept. But accepting it or agreeing to it doesn't change what leeching is. Leeching is the art of standing there doing nothing while gaining benefit. And so, if you're standing there gaining benefit while doing nothing, it's not relevant what you're doing. No matter, leeching bounties in town is the same exact thing as being power leveled or power leveling somebody. The person is standing there, or you are standing there doing nothing while gaining all benefit. Leeching is leeching. The definition doesn't change just because people agree to it or ask. And what's funny is people that got power level or power level people complain about people sitting in town with bounties. I don't care if somebody sits in town with a bounty. It's not stopping me from doing the bounty. Well, people are getting free items. Yeah, and? Well, I don't like that. Then make your games private. Like, there's so much stuff in this game that's ridiculous. So many things in online games that don't need to be there. It's absolutely ridiculous. 491. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's no good. 470. Wow. That's a lot. The only only thing I do in my the only thing that I do in my videos is I put things into perspective. That's all I do. People don't like it, but like I said, if you go back and look at my Division videos, I get so much hate for that. It's ridiculous. I've had people unsubscribe. Somebody's like, I'm unsubbing to you. Okay, unsub to me. Why are you even telling me? If you're gonna unsub to me, I don't need to know. Unsub to me. I'm never gonna. I don't care. People act like there's some like big revelation, and I don't know. It's ridiculous. Let me see here. This and this. 50. 50, 50. That will be 65. Let's see if I can do this.
Are you strong enough?
Damn it, I did it again. Can't believe I did that. I forgot to change this back again. Shit. That's not good. Let me see. Yeah, but here's the thing. The fact that there is a block option in a language filter in the game, anybody using the report feature because of somebody's language is abusing the they're not offended by it. They're using it to harass you. Because anybody that's on the receiving end of that on a complaint, if I was whoever oversaw this, if I was reading complaints about people's language, this is exactly what I would tell them. This is an M-rated game. The ESRB rating changes when you're online. You're not being offended by the language. You probably watch R-rated movies and you need to be over 18, so this isn't the first time you've heard this. If you're offended, use block. Do not use the report feature for this. If you do it again, I'm going to suspend you for abuse of the report feature. The report feature is not because you don't like to listen to what somebody says in chat, unless it's in an extreme case. There are exceptions to that. But the F word, you know what I mean? Do you know what I got? You want me to tell you what I got muted for? I'll tell you, and you'll laugh too because it's funny. This is literally what I got muted for. There's a movie called Clive Barker's Midnight Meat Train. Bradley Cooper's in it, and so is Vinnie Jones. And Vinnie Jones is this killer who is basically killing homeless people, whatever it is, and feeding them to these creatures. Bradley Cooper was a photographer / reporter that was, trying to get ahead in his career. And what wound up happening was, near the end of the movie, they take this train to whatever it is. The conductor was in on it, and the conductor comes back where these bodies are hanging up, and Bradley Cooper just finished beating the piss out of Vinnie Jones, and the conductor comes back and goes, "Please, step away from the meat." It's so random, it has nothing to do with anything, it just sounds awkward, and it's funny if you don't know where it came from. And so what happened was, somebody in the chat goes, "Nope, I'm staying near the meat." I basically said, "Get the fuck away from the meat right now." And somebody reported that as offensive. That's what I got suspended. That's what I got muted for. I got muted because I told somebody to get the fuck away from the meat. You can't even get mad at that. And somebody didn't like me telling. I guess somebody didn't like me. I guess he wanted to be near the meat. Oh man. You have to admit, that is funny. It's annoying, but it's funny. I got told to stop. He must have really wanted to be near the meat. Alright, so let me, Nice. Alright, so now I can go in here. This is going to be a totally different story here. So that's invigoration. Alright, here we go. Now I should be alright with this.
revenge. Need more time. Your fear betrays you. Still waiting. Not ready yet.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. This is the hardcore grind and open discussion. For those of you playing hardcore, I advise you to use Turbo HUD.
Still waiting.
Yeah, I'm actually telling people to use Turbo HUD. Not only because it equalizes the game, but it makes what is supposed to be fair for everybody. Because like I said, if everybody's using it, then it can't be unequal. Like I said, I never actually finished explaining about the Armstrong issue. When I was watching the Lance Armstrong, it was called the Armstrong Lie. I gotta go to town for a minute. My friggin'
I need to go back.
my awareness kicked in. I was watching something called the Armstrong Lie, and it was basically when he was winning the Tour de France and everything else. Apparently he was cheating and never got caught. So it turned out after doing an investigation, he finally came out and said, "Yeah, I admit it, I cheated and everything else and whatever." And so apparently after the sports or whatever the hell it is racing commission or whatever it is, dug into it, they found like every team was using cheats. They were using steroids or whatever it is. Every team was doing it. So that leads me to the question: if every team was doing it, then it's the same as every team not doing it, because the only reason to cheat is to have an advantage. If everybody has the same advantage, then nobody can be cheating. So that's why I tell people, it just doesn't make any sense to try to say, well, this is legitimate, while not allowing it to be legitimate. It literally doesn't make any sense. Because, like I said, you can find a lot of topics on the forums about Blizzard saying, well, this is the only way to keep the game fair, and then they're not actually keeping the game fair. They're allowing so much garbage to go on, because it's more important for somebody to be offended by the F word than it is to remove the cheaters from the game. That gives you any indication, you know. My swearing is more important than cheating in an 8-year-old game. Because gamers are offended. But alright, whatever. So what I decided to do was I gotta go to town. My friggin' awareness kicked in again. What I decided to do was sorry, I was checking on something. What I decided to do was I decided to go into games and start disrupting them. Because people are using an in-game feature to harass me. Nobody's offended by language, especially gamers. You can't tell me any gamer's offended by language. And if you're that offended, block me in chat. That's what the ignore or block communications feature is for. It's the same thing as using the remove from game feature. There's no reason that's even in the game. In games that have a way to make your game, games that have a way to make the game private, leaving a remove or kick from group feature in the game is specifically the developers leaving a way for players to harass other players. Everybody knows that remove from game is not being used for a legitimate reason, despite what people say. It's just not legitimate. Pain in the ass. I gotta go to town again. My freaking awareness kicked in because of these stupid fireballs. But if the games didn't have a way to make, if there was no way to make your games private or have a block or ignore feature, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, you have control over your own chat. Okay, you have control over your own game. It's not actually your game. It's a game that Blizzard allows you to create a server on. Somebody's like, well, I created this lobby. Yeah, and? It's not your lobby. Just like people in streams. That's why I don't have moderators, or I don't use Nightbot or Mootbot or whatever it is to govern the chat, because you don't need a babysitter. You have control over your own chat. You don't want to read what somebody says, block them. You don't need me or a moderator to tell you not to listen to somebody. There's too many abuse uses attached to it. So the fact of the matter is, not liking what somebody says and then putting them in a timeout is you abusing the system. That's not a legitimate there's like you can't find a legitimate reason for that. It just doesn't work. You can justify it in your head, but it's not actually a legitimate reason.
My hatred is too low.
It's a dead end. What I really like, this is the one I really like, is when you have one second.
Need more help.
I'm gonna make sure I don't get killed here. The thing I really like is when you know somebody's cheating in a game and you post their name out in the public, in the forum, so everybody knows who they are, and then you get removed from the forum for supposedly public name shaming. And now this is on, the reason why this is funny is because it's public knowledge on Valve when somebody gets VAC banned. It's okay to say somebody's VAC banned, but it's not okay to say somebody's cheating. That doesn't make any sense, because most people will say, well, you got VAC banned because they're cheating. Again, that's a public knowledge issue that people try to use as manipulation to cause problems. Because people will use the fact that you've been VAC banned twice, not understanding that VAC is not a legitimate system for banning people or removing people from the game. It's not. If the Valve anti-cheat system kicks in a game you're not cheating in, and then decides to remove you from the game, you have been falsely banned. It must kick you out of the game you did the cheating in, if you even did the cheating in the first place, in order for it to be legitimate. So people saying, well, you can't get false VAC banned, are just brown-nosing jackasses that are so in love with Valve that there's no talking to them. These are the people that own 300, 400 games. I should say they have them in their library. It's one of the main reasons I don't acknowledge anything on Valve as being legitimate.
My name is What Do You Need?
Now to go do this again. Well, anyway, off the subject, I'm assuming you're still in the chat, Peter, or Christopher. But in that regard, I'm glad some of my videos brought to light some stuff that you may or may not have had questions about. Because like I said, I go right into the heart of the matter. I don't mess around with one-sided stuff or, half-truths or anything else. Because if you watch any of my videos, I bring up points that can't be argued against without being dumb. You know what I mean? So like leeching, for example, people try to cherry pick where they want that applied. It doesn't work like that. Leeching is leeching. You can't change the definition or apply it somewhere that you don't like just because you feel like it. It doesn't work like that. definition doesn't change just because you agree to it or ask. So it's funny to watch people go, well, that's different. So the point I make is people either have a problem with leeching or they don't. You can't not have a problem with it and then have a problem with it, or only have a problem with it where you want and then try to say it's not leeching. Because if you have a problem with it, you have to apply it across the board. You can't. That's what it is you're not having a problem with that, you're having a problem with the leeching. So it's funny to watch people just do this stuff. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the stream. Pain in the ass.
I am returning to town.
My awareness keeps getting kicked in. I gotta go back here. This is ridiculous. Normally I don't use awareness on multi-shot, but in this particular case I have to. What I should do is I should create another Hellfire Amulet. Come on. 21 seconds. Ugh. This is why I say use Turbo HUD, because what just almost killed me was the, I think it's a Lucani Huntress, because they're leaping or winged. It's either a Subjugator or a Lucani Huntress or a Winged Assassin. Somebody jumped on me and almost killed me. So I have to find out what that is. They're Lucani Huntresses. Friggin' did it again. I gotta go back to town. I kicked in my friggin' shit again. Well, that was just me trying to get away from it. Demon Hunter is weird. I'll tell you right now. Just to want me to have you watch out. Somebody was streaming and I wound up talking to them and I says, there's no way you can do what people are doing with the Necromancer when it comes to Corpse Lance. I laid it out in detail and people still try to argue. And it's because, like most of the time when you explain about the Primal, they don't seem to understand the concept because it's hard to wrap your head around. People using Corpse Lance with Necromancer, there's no... People like, well, you know, I'm keybinding this and that and everything. That's good, but that doesn't make you... That does not allow you to infinitely Corpse Lance. You need corpses to throw. You cannot do it without corpses, period. And so what happens is when people are walking through a rift, constantly throwing corpses, they're cheating. Because you can't, you have to have a corpse to throw. And when you throw a corpse, it consumes everything. It consumes all the corpses.
Need more time.
And when you consume all the corpses, there's no way you can walk into another room and instantly have a corpse to throw. It does not work like that. So like, well, you know, I hotkeyed and keybinded this. Yeah, what does that have to do? Hold on a second. I was like, what does that have to do? How does that apply to you infinitely throwing corpses? The build and the mechanics of the game don't even allow it. So how does casting a keybind automatically make the game allow you to do something it can't do? Well, you just don't know how to play it. It just it constantly amazes me, the stupidity level of people trying to chalk stuff up for people. I've actually had to remove people. I've had people like, oh, you just don't know how to play the build. I'm like, you can't infinitely Corpse Lance. There's nothing you can do, no setup, no amount you do that allows that to go on, period. The abuse of that can't be done. Well, you know, the keybinds and this, that, and the other thing. Sorry. necessary. The keybinds and this, that, and the other thing. No! No! It doesn't work like that. Somehow you're saying that the keybinds allow you, or whatever it is you're doing, allows you to break the game's mechanics that never happen? Like, seriously? The stupidity level of people in here is just unreal. If you don't know any better, you wouldn't know any better. But the fact of the matter is, I know how the necro works. I know exactly what's going on. Which brings me to the point on Icy Veins and Diablo fans, which is why I tell people looking up a build doesn't matter. It's not going to help you out. Because there are just things that those sites go over that only they use. And if they're only using what they use, you have no idea what else works. I got him from here, that's hilarious.
Need more time. Still waiting. Feel my wrath.
It may look like I'm shooting off into the middle of nowhere, but it's not. I can see all the enemies and everything else that are on these areas because I'm using Turbo HUD. I can see where they are on the map. Like, for example, there's a shield pylon to the next of me, to the right of me, to the left of me. There's an elite pack. It is a yellow elite pack up there, and they're nightmarish, arcane enchanted, and I can't make out the electrified. No, it's arcane enchanted. Yeah, electrified and nightmare enchanted. The shield pylon at least. What patch 2 days ago? There was an update to Blizzard, the Blizzard app, but there was no update to the game.
The Rift Guardian is here. Still waiting.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the game itself was patched. That just means something was patched in the Blizzard app or something like that. They might have fixed something, I don't know. But the reason I'm saying it's not, the reason I'm saying that the game itself wasn't patched is because I'm using Turbo HUD. Usually when the game gets patched, Turbo HUD stops working because you have to get an upgraded copy of it because the version of the game is not the same. So it stops Turbo HUD from working. I don't think that update was done 2 days ago. It might have been. I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think there was an. I know there was an update to the Blizzard app, but I'm not sure what they snuck in there or whatever else it is. Because like I said, the only reason I'm saying that, and I'm not saying that there wasn't an update, but I just found it odd because usually an update to the game itself forces anybody that's using Turbo HUD to go download another copy of it because the copy is outdated and it stops working with the game. I'm not saying there wasn't a patch. I'm just saying, or that there's something wasn't updated. I'm saying I just find it odd in why I'm saying that because, like I said, I've been using the same copy of Turbo HUD for like the past week and a half. And the last time I had to update it was when something else happened when they updated it. So whenever they update the game, Turbo HUD stops working. The fact that I haven't had to upgrade Turbo HUD is why I'm saying that, that's all. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that there wasn't anything. I'm saying that's the reason why I'm saying it is all. That makes sense?
Don't be shy.
Ooh, that's nice. Can I have it back?
Ah, I finally got a better one. Nice. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I was looking for. I can update my freaking damage on this now. I just get rid of a Yang's recurve. I don't need it. Let's see here. 421. Oh, no, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Alright, so let's see here. Oh, yeah, that's nowhere near as good as what I have. I can get rid of that. Forgot to put these away. Salvage those. I got an upgrade on my quiver. Massive health boost, and then massive damage boost in a minute, because I'm gonna upgrade this if I can. This is what I needed, was the 12 maximum discipline. I had to do it on this one, so I stat Rain of Light Vengeance on mine. So it's not going to be the same. So now that I have 12 discipline on this, I can start messing around with this. I just need to get friggin' multi-shot on this. I think that's what I need. Critical hit chance attack. Yeah, I need multi-shot on this. Put a socket on that. Keep cooldowns on. I don't need that. Yeah, it's usually, well, here's the thing. This is another issue somebody brought up about the enchanting. This is all you have to choose from. Now, what's funny is, it's almost as, if I can find the topic, I can't remember who did it, but I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but somebody posted up that people can say that RNG, which stands for random number generator, because people act like RNG is something that are stats or anything else. RNG is nothing but a random number generator, and it picks from a section of items that already exist in the game for things. Now, people can say certain things in this game are randomly number generated, but that's crap. There are just things in this game that don't apply to random number generators. I mean, they do, but they don't. They're not in the same fashion as, you know, certain things. So, for example, there was, I think, 6 stats that I could have picked, that this thing had to go through. And I had it on a pair of bracers. I was trying to get, the bracers had good stats on them, so I was doing a secondary stat, which allowed me to stun, had a chance to stun the enemy on top of it. So I was using strong arm Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you what happened. I didn't do it. This was in a previous game, so this isn't anything new. But, alright, so when you got strong arm bracers here, the ability on it is enemies hit by knockbacks suffer X% of damage for X amount of seconds. The secondary, I had good stats on the first one. I think it was like critical hit and then something else. But, and it had the element that my character was using. But, the secondary stat, yeah, I'll show you. It's funny. See if I, actually, no, I can't do it on this because I've already started messing with it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the other one. I think I only have one set of those. Okay, see if I can get this right. Okay. The secondary stat on this would be increases gold. Okay. See if it's on here. Okay. So the stat says enemies hit by knockbacks suffer X% of damage. There is a secondary ability that says chance to knock back the enemy on hit. Okay, if you take a look, there's there's a couple other stats. I spent 3 billion gold in 20 minutes, and I got every stat on this from maxed ranged except for a chance to knock back on hit. It gave me every stat except for the one I was looking for. It didn't even give me didn't even show up on the list. I spent 3 billion in gold trying to get that stat on there, and it never gave it to me. It gave me every stat from every variant multiple times, and it did not give me the knockback stat once. So people can say that it's RNG all that they want, but that's BS, because a stat on an item should not be lower or higher than the rest of when you're re-rolling it. That is the point. Now, the game. Now, I can understand the game gearing any things against you or making it rarer on the item. So for example, on Dead Man's Legacy, that's used for multi-shot. So lowering the multi-shot stat on the to roll it as an enchantment, I would understand. And when you're dealing with a holy shot point, the critic, it's weird. But the basic main stat on this is the multi-shot, or the maximum discipline. But when you lower the stat to the point where it doesn't even show up, is where it's rigged, because that's not RNG. That's rigging the stat. So, items and builds that the game looks at gears the items and the builds against the build in the item. So, for example, when you're dealing with the Impale build off the Demon Hunter, the Demon Hunter's Impale build is a single shot build. And so what happens with it is that when you go into a rift, a greater rift, the game specifically generates the rift against everything that character does, and with the gear. So, for example, if you are when you're in a rift and you're trying to do Impale, it'll generate massive amounts of walls, arcane enemies, and shielded enemies, and then it'll throw tons and hundreds of other enemies around the elites, or it'll have massive elites with, it'll have elites, but it'll have like 9 minions with stuff, with shield or wall or whatever else it is. In other words, it's giving the minions, it's giving the sub counters to the minion of, all the minions, the ability that the main minion has, and the main minion has everything that gets around your build. So what happens is, if enemies are shielded or walled, and they swarm the guy that you have that has that ability, that's basically double shield and double walled, because the guy you're supposed to be hitting, you can't hit because the enemies are around them. And if the enemies are shielded, they're blocking the hits from that guy. Plus, if that guy is shielded, he's blocking you from hitting them. And nothing you do can go through walls. So what you wind up having with is you can't, because no matter what you do, like what I have here, like if I open up a regular rift, oh crap, you know what? I'm losing really bad. This rift is not valid. I can't even finish this. I'm gonna go down there. It's gonna be like done. Oh no, I finished it already. Never mind. Oh, you know what? I needed to. That's why I went to town. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Wait a minute. Hold on.
I may be able to help you.
50. There we go. I thought I didn't finish that. I was like, whoops. Yeah. So watch. I'll show you what I mean. Let me get some more stats on those, and I'll go back in there afterwards. I'll go back in with the Impale, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because Impale requires you to be close up to the enemies, and what they will do is they'll give you everything that you can't get near the enemy on. So it'll overload all the enemies with arcane, and because you can't stand near arcane unless you're shielded, and then Impale has a problem against arcane. It just does. So, you can only put so much on your character, and then that's it. Once you do that, you're screwed. Alright, so let me see here. That's 55. That's 50. That's 55. So, what I have to do is... Give me a minute. Into the trapped. I'm going to go up 5 more levels on that. And then I'm going to go... So yeah, let me do 5 level. Let me do this. I got to do 2 more of these runs. I got to do 4 more runs.
Unleash your power.
So, the game... So the game giving you, the game gearing its build, you know, its riffs around you, that's fine, I get that, that's good. But what happens is, when you are being screwed over because the game, first of all, there's over 20 elite powers in this game. Okay, there's over 20 of them. Okay, so there's over 20 elite powers. So for the game to put alright, so when I went in hardcore, when I was redoing it, I kept track of this. I counted 150 elite packs. Okay, that's where I left the count. 150 elite packs. 140 of those elites had arcane on them. 140. I think like 132 of them. So there was an absurd amount of arcane and then shield and walls. And then 36 or 7 of them had, I can't remember, I have the stats in the other, you know, stats in the other video. But basically, for a list of over 20 elite powers, for the game to be picking the same ones over and over and over and over again is absolutely ridiculous. Another thing that this game likes to do is put elite packs right by the damn entrance. And it will usually put elite packs that get around your build. If you noticed, all those elites I just fought were jumping and latching on, so getting away from them wouldn't matter. Yeah, the game they need to stop doing that. See, it's one thing. You'll notice that most of these guys have mortar on them. It's because I have to shoot them at a distance, or they will have reflect damage on them, or they will be moving extremely fast. We are on hardcore or regular?
I'm still waiting. Bleed, you filth.
Yeah.
I'm overburdened.
I'll explain something about hardcore. That might make it easier for you if you decide you wanted to play it. When you're dealing with hardcore, it's the same thing I tell people when I was playing Assassin's Creed Origins, because sorry, my cat's scratching at the furniture. In Assassin's Creed Origins, I tell people, because there was I don't know if you're familiar with that game or if you've played it, but basically there's a couple different difficulty modes, and pretty much whatever you start the game on becomes normal for you. So I basically streamed the entire game on Nightmare from start to finish, 2 times at 100%. Once on regular playthrough and then once on New Game Plus. Meaning regular playthrough, meaning that there was no I didn't
See you soon.
hold on a second, let me grab this over here.
I didn't even know
I
had
can't
that
carry
thing.
anymore.
Ancient Fletcher's Pride. I don't know why I'm still trying to get. Oh, that's weird. Actually, let me try and
Let's
get.
see what happens.
I gotta go down there and get this. But I always tell people that hard or Nightmare is not actually that hard. Hardcore is not that hard.
You have a gem.
The problem with hardcore is people try to approach hardcore like they do the main game. You can't do that, like they would in softcore. So I guarantee you, if you tried to play hardcore the way you did it, if you played hardcore, you would wind up playing how you play softcore in dialogue. Because there's a couple of things when you're dealing with hardcore. Number 1, don't play stupid. Number 2, don't play stupid. Playing stupid is basically rushing into things, doing things before you're actually able to do them, pushing the character, things like that. Like I knew better then when I died doing something stupid. I knew better. I knew better than to go on T13 without certain items, and I did anyway. I did pretty good, and I got cocky and I died. I did that 3 times. 3 times I did that. So it just goes to show you that it's not hard, it's just you have to have patience with it. Now, the times I did die were not my, sometimes I didn't die, was not my fault. I got disconnected and it killed me. I probably would have been dead anyway because if I was playing
Such a
stupid,
brave
but,
soul.
you know, it's weird.
See you soon.
See if I can pull a
My
primal out of here.
father would be proud of you.
My pack is full.
Nah, I'm not going to pull a primal out of here. So let's see. I can only upgrade one of these.
Fate smiles on you today.
That
See
is
you
too
soon.
expensive.
I'm going to upgrade this. Ready?
My service is yours, if you would have it.
Alright. Marauder's Visage. So yeah, if you want me to give you a tip on playing hardcore, like right now, I know if the game disconnects, I'm in the middle of a rift, my character's gonna be dead. There's no other way around it. So it's not my fault I'm dying, but that's the reason why I have, you know, these gems and stuff in my gear. I have almost 2 complete sets of gear. So, it's a little weirded out, but if you die, it's like whatever. Your Paragon points don't go away. If you had any Primal, that would suck, but that's the point. You know, you got to be careful with it. I have enough gems and I have enough gold where I can, you know, redo a bunch of things. Alright, so that's 55, that's 55, that's 55. So now comes the dangerous part. I'm doing GR70. Can't do GR70, shit. Oh, you know what? I didn't even think of this. 30. I need to get that up, so that would be 45. Nice.
You ready?
you gonna play season 14 or not?
Sweet revenge. Not ready. Need more time. Still waiting.
Yeah, that's what I did on this season 13. Why I'm so far behind is because I wound up. I knew I was going to wind up playing Assassin's Creed Origins, and then another game. So I didn't wind up. I only played season just to get the stash tab, and then that was it. But there's a system I use for playing that I tell people all the time. What's funny is I'll tell people the system. You know, like people that are on my friends list. I'll tell them the system, and then when I'm actually in season, they're like, how the hell did you level that fast? Like, I used my system? It was just funny to watch. I'm like, really, people? I tell you how I do this. I tell you the exact way to do it, and then you're surprised that I level. Like, what do you think, I just lied about this? If you're gonna play season 14, I can give you a couple tips on, you know, strategies you can use to help you faster if you want. And it's actually surprisingly simple too. Yeah, the same principle would apply. It's just on hardcore. See, the whole thing with hardcore is you have to take your time. You have to have patience. Because, like I said, when I first went into hardcore, you can't play it like you can softcore. Because in softcore, you can rush in, you just die, and you just get back up. But you can't do that in hardcore. So I died a bunch of times being stupid. So I mean, I can't blame anybody but myself for that. So nice. Get that up there. So the first thing I tell people all the time when you're doing seasonal, when it first starts off, honestly, this is what you do. Do 25 or 30 bounties. And I don't mean the bounties themselves. Get 25 to 30 bounty caches, the chests. That's the first thing you do when you go in the game.
Not ready.
Two reasons for that. First reason is you can level doing that, but the fact of the matter is you're going to wind up having to do bounties anyway to get more powerful items because everybody, there's a number of things that you want when you're playing seasonal that helps you, and so I'll show you what those are afterwards. But you can only get them from doing bounties or off of goblins, so you want to make sure that you do them on, you know, you want to do bounties. Hold on a second.
Need more time.
I'll go up in a minute. I'll go over them in a minute. Yeah, they're actually they're actually a major problem. I'll give you a tip to doing bounties too.
Not ready yet. Do you want more? Wait. Not ready yet.
Huh?
Need more time.
Watching when? When? Okay, for what? Them to do things? Yeah, should tell them. Oh, nice. So, this is a rough one. Since this is a, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna change that since that's ancient. I've already completed GR70 solo in this, by the way, for hardcore. I did it with this character, but that doesn't really friggin' matter. So, I'm gonna go back here, and this is gonna give me an even bigger boost. I'm gonna leave that 11. Oh wait, I'm gonna leave this at 11 maximum discipline. I just don't even care. I'm not gonna miss 100 points of percent damage. I mean, I probably will, but you know what? I'd rather friggin' have this than that. I'm not even gonna be able to get it. This is gonna be hilarious. Oh, that's it. Ah. Oh man, this is rough. So you know what? I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna do that. Okay, so when you're dealing with bounties, I have it in my stash here already. When you're dealing with bounties, the reason why it's so beneficial to do them when season first starts, and like I said, I don't mean 25 to 30 bounties. I literally mean get complete 25 to 30 chests. That gives you all of the plans for everything. And the main important factor is to start messing around with the cane stuff, because if you take a look, it's experience gain. That's what you want. So the first thing you do is but this is the system that I use. I first get the plans to do Borns and Canes. Borns and Canes give you an automatic 70% increase on experience. Automatic. So you get 20% from Borns, and then you have the 50% from Canes. You also have magic items I'll find on that as well. I usually tweak the settings on these for like monster experience and stuff like that. So when you're in a group, it allows you to get even more experience off of what you already have. Then what you do is you go hang out in like is it friggin' like master rift games or something like that, because 90% of the time people are already going to be doing that. So what you have is you know, shit, I went the wrong damn way. Are you still there, or do you get disconnected? Hey, go all the way down again, damn it.
I'll satisfy.
Fortune favors the bold. Do come back again. What a
I
steal.
cannot afford that.
Nice. Alright, so let's see. How do I want to do this? I'm going to create a ruby.
And I'm cursed. Once the captain of King Leoric's army, I left only to honor my land and my king. No man has a greater love for his king than I had for mine, even as I drove my blade through his dark and corrupted heart.
That's them. Alright, after this I'm gonna end the stream. I'm gonna take care of a couple of things.
The Rift Guardian has arrived.
So that's gonna be the end of this. Alright. We'll finish this.
I may be able to help you.
And that'll go up to 5. Oh wow. Oh, I did the wrong one. Whoops. I need to get this to 25 so I can remove the level requirements and stuff. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.